Good afternoon and thanks for joining us for Midday Live on TV3. I am Wendy Lai. The headlines for this afternoon. Protesting drivers demand a reduction in fuel prices. Authorities at the Midday Health Center in the Bumpugu-Yoyo district of the Northern Region request immediate rehabilitation of the facility. And in international news, a prominent critic of Rwanda's President Paul Kagame charged with inciting insurrection against the state. Let's start with our stories now. And some drivers Wednesday morning protested at the premises of TV3, calling on government to reduce fuel prices. The drivers claimed fuel prices have over the last 4 months gone up by as much as 30%, but transport fares have remained the same, a situation they say is affecting their business.
As I'm talking to you now, fuel is almost 22. Master, so can ask yourself, what's the problem? Tell my opposition, now who's singing different tune? Who's singing different tune? As I'm talking to you now, every president of Kenya increase fuel. And now, when you the fuel, they don't announce it. And we are security. It will come out. Who's going to do now? Who's over there? Hold on. So our question is, sir,
the key point here they are making is that before the MPP government won the 2016 election, they promised to reduce fuel prices. Now, the exact opposite is happening right now, and they are saying that they believe that some of their own leaders at the GPRTU level are in bed with the transport ministry and government officials, and at this point they believe that government is insensitive to their own plight. Another key point they make is that they are not going to stop demonstrating and exercising this disagreement with what is happening currently until government does something drastically about the prices of fuel in this country.
And still staying on this story, I do have on the line Duncan Amo, he's Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC. Good afternoon, Duncan, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to your viewers.
Now, this morning, drivers are protesting, and yourself as COPEC, you've petitioned the presidency on this very issue on fuel price reduction, and you raised some pointers. Now, have you heard from the presidency, and what do you make of the demonstration by these drivers?
Let me say thank you again. We have a very long time, mind you. We work directly with them a lot of the times, and so when fuel prices go up, and sometimes they even need to go negotiate what to ask for by way of fare increases, we play a role in there as best as we can. Unfortunately, demand being able to get a little revenue to be able to take care of themselves and their responsibility. So I got a note from them this morning that they intend going around today to let the government understand that the petition that we jointly sent.
Duncan, can you reposition yourself? We're having a difficulty hearing you.
I don't know if it is clear now, but what I was saying is that indeed We together have sent a petition to the presidency cataloging ways or making our recommendations on how government can possibly address the fuel pricing issue. That has been duly received and acknowledged by the president. And as we wait, I'm sure they equally are still feeling the heat. And so I was not surprised to hear that they are already out there demanding for immediate actions and remedial measures be put in place. I can share their frustrations, and then I would only beg that they exercise a little more restraint as we continue to dialogue with government on the way forward with the petroleum pricing issue.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Duncan Amoy. He's Executive Secretary for the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC. To another headline story, but we focus on health now, and doctors and medical staff at the Bindi Health Center in the Bumpungu-Yoyo district of the Northern region are calling for immediate rehabilitation of the facility. This is due to the obsolete equipment, structural defects, and the non-availability of some essential logistics and consumables to aid in quality healthcare delivery.
Health Center serves as a referral center, serving about 60 communities in the Bumpungu-Yoyo district of the Northern region. It also provides services to clients from neighboring Togo. The center records an average of 300 outpatients and 60 admissions daily, with 96% of its clients being beneficiaries of the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Every single part of the facility has issues, but the most important ones on the list would be a general overhaul of most of the structures that we have in the hospital, because we have a lot of leaky roofs and dilapidated structures around.
Only 4 units of blood was available at the time of our visit. Relatives of patients who are to undergo surgery have to donate blood to shore up the stock.
If the fridge was big enough, we could have been organizing voluntary blood donation exercises to cater for such emergency cases. So the doctors decided that any case that goes to theater, especially the CS cases, it's good that they come donate blood as standby, so that in cases where they need blood, there wouldn't be a need of we now running helter-skelter to look for blood.
Inadequate staff has compelled authorities to house male and female patients in one ward.
The nurses that come on duty are put in the pediatric ward. Any other cases that come go through them as well. Currently, we are mixing them because the staff strength is not enough.
Authorities want immediate aid to ensure quality healthcare delivery at the health center.
We're still staying on health, and Ghana is faced with critical shortage of eye health personnel. Volta and Upper East regions, for instance, are without ophthalmologists, and a latest survey by the Ghana Blindness and Visual Impairment Study suggests 300,000 Ghanaians with severe visual impairment are on the brink of getting blind.
It is one of the most important organs of humans. The delicate nature of the eye needs specialist attention. However, personnel to attend to the numerous people in the country who need specialist eye care, according to eye health experts, is inadequate. Across the country, there are only 91 ophthalmologists, and it is more worrying because there are none in the Volta and Upper East regions. The regional distribution of eye health personnel is biased, with rural areas being disadvantaged. At least, Ghana Blindness and Visual Impairment Study indicates 300,000 Ghanaians have severe visual impairment and are on the brink of getting blind. Director of Institution Care Division of Ghana Health Service, Dr. Samuel Kaba Akoriya, is calling for a concerted effort to address the worrying trend.
Today, in our beloved country, Ghana, the prevalence of blindness is 0.74. That means 207,000 Ghanaians are blind. This calls for structural and policy change. This calls for all of us to come together, public, private, NGOs, financial institutions, training institutions, among others, to tackle this as a national plight.
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Insiasari, who launched the report, noted that the Ghana Eye Health Program was working to reduce avoidable blindness and visual impairment in the country, indicating the report will help the sector strategically design intervention programs in future.
Although Ghana Eye Health Service Program is committed to working towards the reduction of avoidable blindness and visual impairment, it is probably limited by reliable data, which is vital for effective and appropriate interventions in eye health services delivery.
Chief Executive Officer of Standard Chartered Bank, Mansa Mnete, expressed the bank's excitement about supporting eye health intervention.
The survey indicates that eye health program interventions such as Seeing is Believing are making a positive impact, and we need to focus more on addressing avoidable blindness.
The Ghana Blindness and Visual Impairment Study 2015 was a collaboration between the Ghana Health Service, Standard Chartered Bank, and other stakeholders.
So we're still staying on the story, and a quick run through some of the statistics we've gathered so far. And 300,000 people, that's 1.07% of the population here in Ghana, are on the verge of getting blind because they suffer severe visual impairment. And we also have some more here. That's 207,000 people, representing 0.74% of the population, have totally gone blind here in our country, and 15% to 20% of blindness cases in Ghana are due to glaucoma. So we're going to find out shortly what we need to do about this health concern and what are we missing as we're trying to deal with eye care here in Ghana. This afternoon, I have been joined by Dr. James Addy. He's the head of eye care unit at the Ghana Health Service. Good afternoon, doctor, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon, and thank you for your viewers and your listeners. Thank you very much.
Now, we have statistics of about 300,000 Ghanaians on the verge of getting blind and 207,000 already blind. How worrying is this, and what are we not doing right as a country?
I wouldn't say what are we not doing right. First and foremost, we did not have data. We did not have enough data. So we were just more or less planning with any estimate. But then I'm glad that we're first and foremost able to do the survey and come out with this data. Yes, 200 and then 300. If you put the two together, blindness and severe visual impairment, we have about 500,000 people, more or less, who are virtually need intervention, immediate intervention. We also know that the causes is basically cataract, and then followed by glaucoma, like you said, almost 20%. But then the third one, which is also coming up, is the diabetic retinopathy, posterior segment disease. So if you put these three together, you realize that it is first and foremost about aging. We are all growing up. I mean, the lifespan of the Ghanaian is going up. So once we are growing, definitely we'll develop the cataract. But then developing the cataract is not even the problem, but going blind from the cataract, it is the problem. And then, of course, glaucoma, because we are black, we are Caucasians, the risk of we having the glaucoma is higher than compared to white. Of course, glaucoma is a chronic disease. It's more genetic, so there's very little we can do about it. But we should not go blind from glaucoma. The third one, like I talked about, was the diabetes and diabetic retinopathy. Like I said, we are growing up, but apart from growing up, our lifestyle has changed. Now we do more work in front of our computers. We exercise very little. Some years back, our parents will walk to the farm and then come back. These days, we do not necessarily go to the farm. We ride in vehicles, from one air-conditioned vehicle to our office air-conditioned. So we do very little exercise. So all these things have come together to raise the number of people who are either blind or on the verge of getting blind. But now that we have this estimate, we have these numbers, then, of course, it will help us in our planning processes. Especially, we need a human resource to do the surgery. For cataract, we need a human resource to do the surgery. For glaucoma, we have to get adequate and very efficient drugs to treat. For those who need surgery, we need a human resource to do the surgery. For diabetics, yes, diabetics who are going blind, we need a retinal surgeons to do. So how many even human resources do we have in the country? We have 91 ophthalmologists in the country, which is grossly inadequate. So these figures will help us to start planning intensively as to how many ophthalmologists should we train every year over the next 3-4 years, so that by the year 2020, we have adequate human resource to tackle this particular problem which has been there. And let me say that what haven't we done right is the fact that we haven't trained adequate number of eye care personnel. In all, we have 1,275 eye care professionals in the area of ophthalmologists. We have about 370 optometrists who must correct the uncorrected refractive error that we have. We have about 500 ophthalmic nurses, which is grossly inadequate. And of course, the opticians, we have about 314. And then all these people, putting them together, 1,200, little 1,200 for the population of 28 million is grossly inadequate.
All right.
And I think that is what probably we have to concentrate on. Train adequate human resource and then equip them necessarily so that they can tackle this particular problem. It is doable, and I know that we are all committed to make sure that we reduce blindness to the barest level in this country.
Thank you so much. James Addy is the head of eye care unit at Ghana Health Service. Let's look at some more stories. And there are approximately 5,800 ophthalmologists, that's ophthalmic nurses in the country, and 10% working in rural areas. In order to upgrade the knowledge of nurses in the country, the Kolebu Hospital, that's nursing training school, is to introduce a Bachelor of Science certification program in ophthalmic care.
Quality eye care services to assist patients achieve optimum eye health. The Kolebu Ophthalmic Nursing School was established to train and equip nurses in ophthalmic care. As part of efforts to upgrade the knowledge of ophthalmic nurses to reflect modern healthcare needs, the school is to introduce Bachelor of Science certification program.
The Ophthalmic Nursing School has been upgraded to a degree level. So before then, it has been an advanced diploma. It is important that those lecturing them get also upgraded. And so those with one tutor from this place through the project is going to be sponsored to get a master's program in ophthalmic nursing.
Principal of the school expressed optimism the nursing certification and subsequent capacity building for tutors would enable healthcare providers meet the evolving healthcare demands of patients. Head of Eye Care Ghana Health Service, Dr. James Addy, called for more capacity building of ophthalmic nurses in the area of diabetic retinopathy, the third leading cause of blindness in the country.
Apart from getting your degree, it is also about time we also initiate you into screening of diabetic cases so that you can identify the diabetic retinopathy cases and then refer them to the teaching hospitals for either anti-VEGF injection or for retinal surgery.
You're still watching Midday Live. Away from health, let's head straight to the Ashanti region, where scores of traders at the Safo Market in Kumasi have protested against city authorities over what they claim are hardship over what they're going through for some years now. According to the traders, despite being neglected in terms of infrastructure, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has also increased their daily towing levy from 10 pesos to 1 cedi. Ashanti regional correspondent Ibrahim Abubakar has some updates on the story.
Traders of Asafo Market here in Kumasi are today protesting against what they claim as neglect by city authorities over the past decade. They are saying they've been neglected for so long a time. They pay KMA tolls, but then they don't have any place of convenience and even a dumping site. They've also been not able to access electricity for over 2 years now. Let me engage with the leaders of the market and find out what are their main concerns. Good afternoon, madam.
Afternoon, sir.
Demonstration
demonstration na how say must take it 1 city. Take it 1 city. Yani prior ball and yakwa kotuagu. Ball kotuagu. One must say ball kakra be kwa no magia 1 city. No makwa kotuagu. A first so a guy timu yate yantadie. Take it 1 city. Yetiminchi and tiasre said omunye ya mwa kame enye mwa na wo take it ne so maye. Ni yetiminchi take it. A first wo nipa. Ya baba pradwe mu no makwa kotuagu ade pamfo wom edwomfo bibia ye ton bia no ye nyina ye ka ho abom ana ye ni jonsadan so odwe mu ye ni toilet bibia ye to bala kora egu pese ye ni bi eti asra mu kan ya won nsem nso ti se na mo se mu ni kan ya wa a chenti ama akromfo be wiawia mo ai ye gwa no ye ti ama ewia ye niam no edan wo yesi ho no agati na ho ete akwanfo no mo fa edan na ase ena ewura dwani mu afenso dwai ensuo ta na yiri emu yiri kura yenya baabi kura emfa eti ase wo mo mra ne emehwe edan na ase no mo conscience ni na mo aka kire kemefo mo hawa mo fem na mo aka kire mo amu ebe no mo de ma ya edan na ase de no ya di kan ya bo wo mama ne dadaada enso still the tia na tia wo mo mehwe maaye also what are your concerns?
I am back. The patrol guy me ho chire papa even sueka for na kasa titi akwebo krase do di obedi kura dene nhunu mo bana kokofa so oba be kire na adwuma watitebu ho a uso twa ticket abrazo wa na akwa no ha da mena dam o man twap money wa na wo sa akwa ni bi so dia se wa na wo hwa no so ba wo se wonye dey wo twa ticket akwa kofa ska wa hin na twa ticket wo masa na wo bo akwa no afezezo wo ba ha se etwa we se light kura bi ni twa no baby abaju so akwa de masa papa wo ba ya taxi 1 city afezo toilet ni dwa we se so dia se yenya ne plan ya kwa koto agu masa hin ya to ball agu yeni baby ya to ball agu uba ubia wano a so abeto stone ubia wano a so abeto stone ada mane be kwa ne so
mama wonso mo conscience
me pa cho bebre yenti aye demonstration na ne say ye dwa ye npa de wo mu te central market de to so mienu obi be didwa wa pocket ne kai si wa no wa to kan 1 million no wa je no ye to so mienu nsuo pete ha na ensia fadwai kan ye ne dwo mu akwanfo so haye enti ese o mu take to 1 city ne de o mo so afa ya pata na ye de 40,000 na o mo de 100,000 ye timinchia wa mo ntia so afa su station ketwa na wa ansa no mo yini na ko central market no o mo famra ne to ya de
all that they are saying is that already business is not booming, and now KMA has introduced 1 city toll every day, and they are saying that will even worsen their already plight. I also have with me the assemblyman for the area who also tell us.
So we'll bring you some more in our subsequent bulletins. This is still Midday Live. Graveling has begun at the Salaga-Tamale Road in the East Gonja municipality of the Northern Region ahead of the visit of President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. But some aggrieved youth have vowed to stop the ongoing construction work, which they say is a political gimmick. They insist the president must be allowed to travel on the Power Road to appreciate the agonies of voters. President Akufo-Addo is set to arrive in the Northern Region for 3 days tour of the region. All right, so this afternoon I've been joined by Rashad Mahama, leader of the youth in Salaga. Good afternoon, Rashad, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers as well.
Now, you have raised some concerns about the graveling of the road on the Salaga-Tamale road, but you vowing to stop the ongoing work, is that going to solve the problem in any way?
That's a little miscommunication. We're not vowing to stop the project. We are only raising concerns about the, if you like, deception that is being carried out by trying to paint a different picture to the president when in actual sense the route is as deplorable as some people might be aware of. So what we're saying is basically that they should have either allowed the president to fly on it in its current state to know the state of affairs with regards to the route, or if it is indeed a construction work that is going to be sustained, then after the president's visit, we expect that the route be completed for us.
But have you been able to interact or spoken to the appropriate authorities to find out if indeed this is an ongoing work till it's completed, or it has to do with the president's visit?
Yes, contact with some people who are, if you like, stakeholders with regards to the construction suggest to us that it's just a temporary measure to kind of gravel it and to fill or conceal the potholes and how deplorable the road is.
All right, well, thank you so much. I have been speaking to the leader of the youth in Salaga, Rashid Mahama. Now let's move on to other stories. And the Minister for Tourism and Culture and Creative Arts, Catherine Afeku, has affirmed setting up a special desk at the ministry to develop the historic Baga tourist site during a regional tour of the community. She also stressed the need to promote domestic tourism.
Larbanga, located in the West Gonja district of the Northern region, is one of the many communities with amazing historic background. Residents here are mainly Kamarans and speak the Kamara language, which is a combination of 3 local dialects. Established over 600 years ago, the community has played host to many tourists due to the presence of some tourist sites and the myth surrounding the establishment of the community. These include the ancient mosque, the mystic stone, and the first Quran in West Africa. History has it that one Muslim cleric called Yidana Ibrahim from Medina in Saudi Arabia founded Larbanga, and through him the mosque, the mystic stone, and the oldest handwritten Quran came to the community. Considered their holy place of worship, the ancient mosque has the uniquely designed architecture with 4 entry points. Non-Muslim tourists are refused entry.
The mosque has never been changed in structure, but we do renovate it every year or every other year. Some of the stakes that you've seen pointing in and out are those that in the olden days there were no iron rods, but technology onto them is to use the stakes to make the building stay long. Behind the mosque is a baobab tree which is said to be planted on the grave of the founder. Before the establishment of health posts in the community, residents who mainly constitute the 12th clan of the community resort to the use of fruits and leaves of the tree to cure ailments. The mystic stone, considered the powerhouse of the indigents of Larbanga, is a source of protection. As a result, no donkey is reared in the community. Pilgrims from beyond the borders of Ghana come to seek prosperity here. It is believed that one's prayer request is granted when the person touches the mystic stone and pray inwardly. However, a special prayer is said for the pilgrims by one of the 12 clan heads. Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Catherine Afeku, in the company of her deputy and some staff of Tourism Development Company during a regional tour to the Larbanga tourist site, affirmed a special desk will be created at the ministry to facilitate the revival of tourist sites in the area. The entourage later paid a courtesy call on the chief of the Gonja Kingdom, Tuntumba Sulemana Jakpa Borisa, who is also the president of the Northern Regional House of Chiefs. The chief installed the sector minister and her deputy as Dankare Wuche and Dankare Wura, respectively, for their zeal to harness the country's tourism potentials.
It's another interesting story, a conflict between man and nature. Who wins? In the following report, Stanley Niblewu shows how a timely intervention by a tour guide at the Mole National Park prevented what could have been a fatal attack on the entourage of the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts.
The entourage, led by the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Catherine Abelema Afeku, was in the northern region to acquaint themselves with some tourist attraction sites in the region after visiting the Larabanga Mosque and the Mystic Stone in the West Gonja district. The entourage proceeded to the Mole National Park. After a 7-minute drive into the park, a siren emanating from the convoy's motorcade attracted this elephant. For over 30 minutes, the ministerial convoy was held hostage by this elephant. The timely intervention of a tour guide at the scene brought some temporary relief. However, the elephant would still not budge and remained on the road. The tour guide then had to improvise and devise all manner of tricks to make the elephant move. Just when the entourage thought the elephant had eventually given in, it returned, this time chasing tourists away. After about 15 minutes, the elephant was eventually brought under control.
Don't move.
Police officers accompanying the convoy were all gripped with fear, especially the driver of the motorcade, and this was how he escaped from the scene. The situation at the Mole National Park brings to the fore security of tourists. With the Mole National Park hosting about 94 different types of animals, it is expected that the Forestry Commission will do more to ensure the safety of tourists at the site.
I'm sure you realize that the role of tour guides are very, very important. Next, we have What You Think.
The computerized placement system has been closed finally, even though some people still have issues with their placement. But the GES says there's nothing it can do about it, and the only option is the computerized placement system has been closed finally, even though some people still have issues with their placement. But the GES says there's nothing it can do about it, and the only option is for them to wait for next year. What do you think?
I don't see it to be fair to the kids, because if someone has gone to school for how many years? 3 years. And at the end of the day, you write exams and you pass and you are not able to get a school, I won't be happy when it happens to my kids. So, and I think the government has to do something about it.
From now up to next year, from that time, when they don't study at home, how can they remember what they had studied already? So it's going to be difficult, if not impossible. They should try and place them.
This is a very embarrassing issue. And I really, maybe one thing maybe I can put across is government should try as much as possible so that all children that they promise they should get an access to the education level.
Most schools I know in the deprived areas are not having a full capacity, especially the day schools that were established by the previous government. So if the parents will allow, they should repost these students to those schools instead of them waiting for another year. The ladies waiting for 1 year at home, their parents will go and leave them. By the time the 1 year will come, some of them will even be pregnant. So for the best interest of the students, I suggest they repost them.
Right now, they have to close them to private schools, because right now, because of the free SHS, most of the private schools are not getting students. So they must right now open the particular for the private school to able to take them.
From the information that I have also gathered, some of them were placed, but their parents
don't have the means to send them to places that they were sent. So they were looking forward to the government or the system replacing them to a school that will be much convenient for them, and that one has not happened. If there are no vacancies, they still have to wait and pray that next year they are placed.
So watching Midday Live, we have more shortly. Thanks for staying. We have business now, and guest captain for TV3's flagship program, Time with the Captains, Zenith Bank boss Henry Oro, has called on participants to see the end in their minds in order to achieve their dreams. He encouraged them not to give up on their dreams.
A lot of people fail to execute. Execution is part of getting a dream come through. It is said that a dream, a future that is not connected to your today is at best a mirage. And that connection between your today and your future is the execution. So that's the part where dreams have been killed premature. We must take that step as a student, write that project, make that call, write that letter, ask for that support. That is the first step you have to take. Execution, execution, and execution. Once we do that, you will find that there is no obstacle you cannot overcome. Call on the right people to support you. Call on friends. Call on a bank. You must be bold. You know, you must be bold. Call on Zenith Bank. Zenith Bank is full of people, RMs and staff that are willing to listen to you. Call on any of the banks in Ghana. They will listen to you if it is a problem of financing. But it might not just be the problem of financing. It might just be a problem of execution. It might be a problem of taking the first step. They say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with what? With the first step. So what you have to do is take that first step. And once you have taken that first step, like we say in Zenith, when you aspire to perspire, the universe will conspire in your favor. Wow. So once you have a great idea, take that first step. Aspire.
All right, so let's move on to some of the business stories. And some energy experts are asking government to take a second look at the cost of energy in the country. This is because Ghana's power generation is now in excess, with an additional 470 megawatts from car power shipped to the national grid. They say until the cost is beaten down, exporting to other countries will remain a challenge.
The second 470 megawatts capacity power ship, twice the size of the current car power barge, arrived in Ghana in August this year. The Cameroonese power ship, Osman Khan, is expected to supply uninterrupted and reliable electricity at one of the lowest prices for thermal power generation. This could significantly help improve the power supply in the country. Principal Research Analyst at the Institute of Energy Security, Richmond Roxon, says despite this development, cost of energy in the country still remains high.
Unfortunately for us, over the period, the kind of thermal plants that we've had have been running on light crude oil and also diesel, so they've been relatively expensive as compared to our neighbors. Once we are having cheaper fuels, definitely means that we're going to reduce the cost. Then we'll look at exporting. Definitely someone might need it. The only disadvantage is that the cost is high, so it won't be easier exporting. Because
Ishmael Ejukumhene of Kite believes the only way to offset the excess power generated in the country is to export to other countries. But this move is not that simple, considering Ghana's high cost of energy.
Our power is expensive because of most of these expensive thermal plants that we contracted. So unless we are prepared to sell at the price they are prepared to buy, there isn't too much option for us in the West African power pool, because we're generating electricity at a much higher price than what the sub-regional average.
Meanwhile, the Institute of Energy Security has predicted fuel prices for the first pricing window in the month of October.
And that's all for business.
Well, I wish you well. TV3 should keep working hard. Continue to be the best in news, best in entertainment. We are grateful for what you've achieved, and we take a lot of pride in association with you because the quality that you represent, your aspirations are similar to ours. We also want to be the best, so we are together, sharing, similar ambition and desires. So good luck to TV3.
Everything you need to know. Captivating. Reliable. Credible and breaking news. All at your fingertips.
Who's found Asamoah Gyan? Super finish!
Being on top of the news has never been easy. Visit us at www.3news.com for all your reliable news. 3 News, news at your fingertips.
Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3 News GH for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3 News GH and at 3 Sports GH. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3 GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment.
The Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Catherine Afeku, says the appointment of the 50 tourism ambassadors is a move to get the industry persons working to promote the sector. At the launch of a tourism booster, a handbook here in Accra, she said critics will gradually appreciate their appointment when the impact takes its positive toll on the economy. Here's a report by Adra Mofose.
The World Tourism Forum is expected to bring over 50 media personnel from different countries across the globe. The 3-day event, which is being held in Africa for the first time, will also host 10 other ministers of tourism from countries in Africa who will dialogue on the progress of tourism on the continent. At a media briefing, Minister for Tourism Catherine Afeku explained that Ghana was chosen due to its track record in democracy and political stability.
It is a very big opportunity for us. Not only is it just a media event, we have the clergy, we have the chiefs, we have just good people of Ghana joining the effort in supporting the agenda of arts, culture, and tourism. And we will, at the end of the 3-day bonanza, make a strong statement that we can and we should use this sector to wipe out unemployment.
She added the forum will open up business opportunities not only for the tourism industry but also other sectors of the economy. Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Kwesi Agyemang, said the authority will ensure a successful forum. Speakers for the event have been selected from sectors of the tourism and hospitality industry, as well as arts, culture and entertainment. The event will be graced by the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
And that's all for this afternoon. My name is Wendy Lai. Thank you so much for watching Midday Live. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. You have a good afternoon.